Everybody, welcome to the Purple Friday Show, episode 223. We're here talking about the Ravens Bills. To the opening drive. I remember I was driving home from the airport, getting back from Jamaica,
Light flex,
and
light flex,
and
light flex.
Big
and
money talk.
and all I hear on the radio is, "All right, Derrick Henry gets the ball. He's past the 30, past the," and then I'm like, "Oh, he's." And I hear the crowd through the radio, just like, it's going off. Like we as Ravens fans, we've been a part of some of these games, right, where it's like off breaks from the beginning of the game. It kind of reminds me of that game. I think it was in 2010 or 2011.
New
I
England.
think it was September
New England
11th, the 9
playoffs.
11 game, and we
Oh.
played the Steelers.
Oh,
And
that
from
game.
off break, like off break in that game, like it was just this like knockout after knockout after knockout. And that's kind of what the way this game felt for the Ravens. I mean, the Bills come into this game after the performance that I think Josh Allen had on Thursday night, threw 4 touchdowns, I think all total altogether. I think they had 1 rushing and 3 throwing. All the talk coming in, Josh Allen's the MVP of the league already. He doesn't have any receivers to throw to. The only guy he had coming back from the last roster was Shakir. The James Cook in that running game for the Bills was, potent, everything. But credit to credit is due. The Ravens prepared well for that football game. I think from the first quarter through the fourth quarter, the game plan was very apparent what they were trying to do. They just kind of got better from what they did against Dallas the week before. Still, the passing game is still working itself out. I guess the Ravens right now are just kind of like, we're just gonna, we're gonna run this ball. Like it was funny. It's looking back on that Harbaugh quote from week 1, where he's like, "We're not giving the ball." He did 30 carries, no 30 carries. I think at the end of the game, I think Derrick Henry had 25 or 26 carries in that game. By the time I think they got to the fourth quarter, he had 18 for like, what was it, 150? He had like 18 carries for like 150 yards. I mean, efficient running by him finally got him going. It just also showed, I think I've been loving the comments by Cowboys fans putting up memes and stuff about how Jerry Jones didn't want to pay Derrick Henry any money, and now he's looking back like, probably should pay that man some money. Probably should pay that man some money, because Derrick Henry, he showed out. He showed that game, and it just, I think we talked about it in the group chat too, how what this Ravens offense was gonna look like with Lamar and Derrick Henry like in the zone. And it's just, as you can just tell, it's hard to stop. It's gonna be hard to stop. Rex Ryan said it on, I guess, what was that, Monday morning or Tuesday morning, when he was on, I think, either Get Up or First Take, and he said this offense is going to be nearly impossible to stop with both of them running full speed, because if you key on one, the other one's going to go the other way, and that's 6. And I think somebody said, I don't forget, it wasn't Rex Ryan, it was somebody else that said there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can, when they escape the pocket like that, can get you 6 points. It's like there's some mobile quarterbacks in the league that can get around and get 5 or 10 yards and then run out of bounds or whatever, get the first down. Lamar is legit head hits the goalpost. Like if he's open space, he's gone. Touchdown. So they said that's the danger, where it's like, other quarterbacks like Mahomes and even Russell Wilson, even Justin Fields and stuff like that, like you'll be able to catch. You can catch them. Like they'll get 20 yards, but you can catch them. Lamar, if he gets open space, is gone. So it's like you got to pick right. You got to pick right. And a shout out to Zach Orr, man. Shout out to him, because he coached a hell of a game. I know he didn't get a lot of the credit. Everybody's going to focus more on Henry and Lamar in that offense and what they did, but he coached a hell of a game. This same team that put up about 40 points this on Thursday night, and it kept them to 10 points. And old man Van Noy, Rip Van Noy. I'm gonna call him Rip Van Noy right now. Rip Van Noy. Like that, like I said, that one play, he made 2 plays in one. He made 2 plays in one. He breaks up the shovel pass or whatever it was, and then he comes back and knocks the ball out of Allen's hands, and lets Hamilton picks it up for the fumble recovery there. So, yeah, what are your? I thought that was their best game they played as a group, as a whole. What was your guys' take from the game?
Yeah, man, that's almost exactly my take. They played an excellent, almost perfect game. Clicking on all cylinders, like literally the definition of clicking on all cylinders. This is what we talk about. This is what we look forward to in the offseason when we're discussing what the potential of this team could be. They put it on full display on the biggest stage on Sunday Night Football against, not to mention a 3-0 team that people were calling Super Bowl contenders already from the start. So this was no easy task whatsoever. And once again, the Ravens, after being let down a couple of weeks before that against the Raiders and almost forfeiting a win in Dallas the week after that, to just come back and go back to the drawing board and get things fixed and get things tightened up, and to call that game that Todd Monken called, like you gave Zach Gore props. I'm gonna get to him in a second. But Todd Monken was dialing him up. I mean, we seen Lamar under center a lot in this game. We seen a lot of play action. There was a lot of cases where I know in previous shows we've had, we always talk about how predictable our offense was. Our offense was not predictable whatsoever. And it not being predictable, we were still able to effectively run the football. The offensive line played really, really well. I did like the fact that we were running play action with Derrick Henry on the field. I like that we incorporated him in some of that passing game as well. He scored a receiving touchdown. That was awesome. And Justice Hill, I mean, talk about lightning in a jar. Like when they let him on the field, whatever, in downs where we just got to have a first down, some of these third downs and third and longs, he just seems to make it happen every single time. Like that touchdown that he scored, great play call. Great play call. I love how it was drawn up, but that play was all Justice Hill. I mean, he put a one-on-one move on that defender and just literally left him where he was. So that's just individual effort, and that's not even including the run game that he's providing us as well. I mean, he looks like he's gotten faster and faster every single season he's been here in Baltimore. It's truly incredible. So with that, this 1-2 punch that we're talking about with Lamar and Derrick Henry, that was on full display. And the passing game where Lamar had like 150 something yards passing, I mean, he didn't really have to do much, which is something else we've all been talking about. We don't want Lamar to have to be a superhero every single week. All he got to do is make a couple of plays, and that should get it done for us with the team and the talent that we have surrounding him. I still, long for more talent and more plays at the receiver position. I'm not going to lie. I do like that we do incorporate Zay in a lot of these, short yardage plays just for him to, make plays. But I still kind of yearn for a little bit more of that, especially down the field. I was hoping that's where, Bateman would have stepped up this year. We haven't seen that in full-fledged yet. It seems like he's getting like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 targets a game. Definitely this past week he got maybe like one or 2. But I would like to see more. I mean, we've seen him score. He scored already this year. He can kind of make this even crazier. I mean, there's a lot of rumors and everything with Devontae Adams in the news that came out today, with what the potential could be. But it's not even something we would probably be thinking about if we got the production that we kind of all need from Rashad Bateman from the start of the year. But yeah, offense played great, and damn near perfect game. The defense, phenomenal. The key to that game to me was obviously we got to contain Josh Allen. I think we did an excellent job of that. Our edge rushers and even our interior line, we kind of kept them in check. Josh Allen had like one spectacular play the whole game, and that was when he got out of the pocket and he just kind of launched it down the field, and our DB just kind of got away from it, man. Like that's what happens when you're not just doing your job. And they got a little, they weren't disciplined in that moment, but outside of that, they played a great game, and I was impressed with the man-to-man coverage that they were playing. Majority of that game, Stevens and Nate Wiggins had another great game as well. And Kyle Hamilton, I think he had like maybe 12 or 13. I forget how many tackles he had, but I know he led the team in tackles, I think, in that game. More of the same from the previous week. I mean, he's starting to come along and do some of the things we need. And like you said, the fountain of youth with Van Noy. I mean, he was our game wrecker in that game. Like, not that we, that he did everything, but when it came in clutch moments, he was destroying the Bills up front and making, crazy effort, giving crazy effort, and just making great plays. So I just commend our whole defense. The fact that we held them to 10 points, and the Bills, this is a team who's been averaging over 30 points coming in, and also a team who has not lost by more than 6 points in a few years, which is a crazy stat. Is to be commended, and all hats, go off to Zachary Orr. And it seems like he's kind of finding his way through that playbook, and having a good feel for the game and calling things at the right time. So I want to see that continue into the next week. But yeah, man, shout out to that both sides of the ball, all phases look great.
Man, this is like you said, man, this is a complete game, completely dominant game. When Josh Allen made that crazy play, I know all Ravens fans, we got nervous.
Mm-hmm.
We started shaking in our boots a little bit. Like, no, not again. But this team stepped up. And I want to say this. Let's start here. Todd Monken and Zachary Orr, I'm going to say his whole name, Zachary Orr, prepared their asses off for that game. Like, we felt it during the game, and Trey, you spoke on it, but they prepared. Like, that's one of the most prepared Ravens games I've seen in a while. I think the closest, the last one I felt this prepared was when we upset Kansas City on Monday Night Football a couple years back, when we just ran the ball right at Kansas City. But I just felt this was the most prepared game we've had in a long time. Defensively, Zach Orr said, look, I'm putting Kyle Hamilton in this slot, and he's going to do everything. He's going to rush off that edge. He's going to play that area. He's going to get after in the run game. Like, he just let Kyle Hamilton loose. And Vanoy, Owe, like, everybody up front just played a heck of a game. There's no complaints. We were physical. We were aggressive. Smacked the hell out of Josh Allen. We were just very physical, very dominant. We controlled the game from the defensive side. Like, we controlled the Bills. They couldn't do anything until they got desperate. It was complete domination. So hats off. Great preparation there. The only thing, my only critique, Brandon Stevens, man, I know we call you straps, but you gotta get your head around, man, because Keon Coleman was hitting you on them back shoulder throws. But outside of that, man, great game. Nate Wiggins, my man's good in coverage, man. We just got to get him to catch the ball. He should have had 2 picks. But overall, like, I'm so satisfied. I know we have some things to work on still, mainly in the middle of the field and zone coverage. We're still a little weak in that area, but overall, this is just dominant. And hats off to Zach Orr. This was your coming out game. When we started with Mike McDonald, we had some rough early games, and he finally started getting it together. And it feels like Zach Orr got comfortable. He got comfortable calling plays, making adjustments in this game. So big shout out to Zach Orr there. Offensively, look, I don't give a damn about those receivers. All right. We can run 12 personnel, 22 personnel, run the ball, because I'm just going to be honest. We're dominating without them being a part of the game plan. I'm just being serious. I know it's not sustainable. I'm caught up in the moment.
This week we dominated though.
It's definitely not sustainable. But gosh, the receivers were nowhere near a part of the game plan. I think the only thing we really missed in the passing game was when we threw that reckless pass to Nelson Aguilar, where he tried to do the super bunnies one-handed catch, and Zay was just chilling in the end zone wide open. Like, the game plan was awesome. I said last week, the Bills were susceptible in the run game, and that first play. Look, Miles, you were in the car, in your luxury car, coming back from Jamaica after swiping your black card everywhere. But you know what? I was sitting on my floor in the basement. All right,
the trenches.
I was in the trenches, and you want to know what? All weekend, my wife was pissed at me because I got super excited at the Alabama game ending, and then I was sitting on that floor. My wife was chilling. and all you hear, hand off to Henry. Keep going. And I was so excited seeing Derrick Henry just bust through that line and just outrun everybody.
The speed. He just
Yeah,
kept
the
getting faster and faster, dog.
I know. I was like, Tyreek Hill running the ball.
Yo, what did y'all think to yourself when you seen DeMar Hamlin chasing after him?
Man,
I'm not going to say my petty.
Nah.
I'm not going to say my petty thought. You know,
I was like, I'm glad like Hamlin just kind of got out of the way, like because you saw like Hamlin was like kind of near the line when Henry broke through, and Hamlin kind of sidestepped to the side, let him run right past.
But the chase was so pathetic. It was bad. He ran as hard as he possibly could.
Yeah, he broke his heart that time. But I think my overall thing was like, man, he blocked.
I think he just caught that. He just caught that. I don't know if he meant that to be intentional.
You say you broke it. Why you say you broke his heart, yo?
I mean,
y'all.
No, I mean, when it's listed on his injury report, I mean, it's pretty much on there. So I mean, that's.
Look, man, y'all are petty, and that is not what I meant.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and right.
Blessings to everybody. DeMar Hamlin, shout out to you, man. Hate it had to be you that couldn't catch up. But I think I was just most impressed about our run blocking. I mean, we were physical. I love the scheme. I love the pulling. I love that we were able to pull. And hey, I hate to say it, but you might as well just stick with that line. Shout out to Andrew Voorhees.
They've gotten better.
We were looking really good. Yeah. I mean, for Lele, I got to learn to say your name because you are playing.
He's gotten better
right now.
He's gotten better.
The
last 2 weeks. Yeah.
I mean, hey, if the man needs hate to play good, then we're gonna keep hating. But I mean, he was moving. He was getting to the second level. We were able to pull our linemen, which is something that was a problem from the preseason through the first 2 games. And we see what happens when we're able to execute our run blocking schemes. The holes are wide open. I love the way we use Patrick Ricard. And look, I'll say it again. Like, if the receivers aren't a big part of the game and we're able to successfully run the ball like that, hey, so be it. That's our identity, run first. We're able to do that successfully. Derrick Henry, I think they said he was getting like 3 or 4 yards before contact. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal when you have him. And that's before you have Lamar doing his thing. And then you mix in Justice Hill. Look, Justice Hill is starting to remind me of what's my man? Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman. Remember Michael Pittman used to catch 90 balls a year in Arizona? So he reminds me of Michael Pittman in his heyday. So like I'm loving the way Justice Hill is playing. He's running physical, but he's running fast.
Yeah.
He's fast. So I love the way we've been using him. And hey, if he's our leading receiver and we're able to run the ball and we're able to put up points like that, so be it. Like, I just love what I saw out there. And Todd Monken, I don't clap often for you, but great game plan. I have no complaints except Harbaugh, but I'll reserve that for Miles.
Yeah, at least Harbaugh owned up to it during the press conference. That's my bad. I should have known better, like not to call back-to-back timeouts, because it was confusion. I remember on the radio they were saying it was an injury timeout, but they didn't know if it was going to be charged to the Ravens or the Bills. And I think it's still ended up being charged an injury timeout to the Ravens, even though it wasn't they didn't take a timeout away from them, but it still counts as a timeout. So you can't call a consecutive timeout after the fact. That's one of those things, like even as a coach, you get clarification. Who was that on? Was it on me? Was it on the Bills or on the Ravens for the injury timeout? Oh, it's on you guys, or we can't call a timeout.
But the refs were trying to ignore him because they
knew,
right?
It was a lot of this. Again, it was confusion because it didn't know who was it on. They didn't know like who's going to take this injury timeout, who's it on. So it ended up being a Harbaugh. He took it. He said, I got to do better with that. He took advantage. He took the blame for
accountability.
He took accountability for that game
for once.
I would hope. I think the plan going forward for this team is that. I think, like you said, Travis, like I don't know if this running the way they're doing is sustainable throughout the season. It's fine for right now, but I know at some point they're going to have to start throwing the ball downfield. I guess the hope is let's show them how dominant this run game can be, set up play action and the bootlegs and stuff like that, and that's just going to force guys to get wide open. because now you're going to have to key on Lamar. You're going to have to key on Derrick Henry on these plays. So you're going to have to cheat up and all this stuff. So it's going to leave guys one-on-one, man to man, one high, like one safety at the top, so it's going to leave a lot of opportunities for Lamar to get the ball downfield. And we saw, for the most part in the game, Lamar had a clean pocket. When he was throwing the football in that game, he was clean for most of the game. Like, he wasn't running around trying to make things happen on the run and stuff like that. He had most of the time, if he rolled out, it's because he chose to. And he had plenty of time to throw the ball downfield. So I think that, again, I don't know if Voorhees will come back to play in this game. I don't know if they're gonna rotate him out because how well they played against the Bills. I think the front four for the Bengals will be a little bit tougher. I think the Ravens were just able to just manhandle them. Like, likely Kolar and Andrews are blocking their asses off right now, giving them all the credit in the world. They're not catching a lot of footballs right now, but when you saw the all 22s and stuff, and them, like, they said, likely, while he's not good at like blocking, like while he's on the line, he's good at creating those seams. Like, he can block that linebacker or the corner and help create that gap for the running back for Lamar to run right through and get there. So he's been doing a phenomenal job at that. Same thing with Justice Hill. I think that's why they keep him on the team, because not only can he run and catch, he can also block as well too. Mm-hmm. So he can do all three. So, but again, I think at some point they are going to have to open up this offense for it to continue. Right now it works. Now they go against the Bengals this week, who have, I think they have the 25th worst rush defense, and then the Dallas is 27 and the Bills are 30th. So they're all within that same. It could be very well another close to 200-yard game for the King Henry going against Sunday. But move on real quick. Let's do week 4 around the NFL. And look, I know it's the NFL. We expect some teams to be, on it, and we expect teams to, at this point start hitting their groove. But this really does feel like a week-to-week league right now through 4 weeks. It really does feel like a week-to-week league right now. The Eagles lose 16-33. I mean, you get blown out. And you get blown out by the Buccaneers. Is something going on with Hurts? I mean, I know AJ Brown is out. I think Smith was out too. Mm-hmm. But you still got Saquon out there. But it just feels like with AJ, it's weird how this offense looks without AJ. Without AJ Brown out there, it's like they have no passing offense. Even when Devontae was still healthy, without AJ Brown, they have zero pass offense. Mm-hmm. Zero. Now, I don't understand what's going on, and it feels like Nick Sirianni's in over his head now. Like, he's looking back at his coordinators. Like, they pick Kellen Moore from Dallas, and he's supposed to, what he usually does is make the quarterback look really good. That's what he did in Dallas. He made Dak look really good. He can throw for all the yards, and he can throw 350 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever a game. But Jalen's not even doing that right now in Philly. So I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't think Jalen's going to go anytime soon, but it could be. You guys think maybe Sirianni, if they don't right the ship soon, he could be out of there.
Yeah, it's kind of a split, honestly. Just from hearing the chatter up here, it seems like half the jury's out on Jalen Hurts, and just think he is who he is, and he's probably reached the ceiling. And then the other half is putting it on Nick Sirianni, which I think might be more appropriate. To be honest, I mean, to be fair, they are down on some significant pieces. AJ Brown, their best receiver, their offense, even when Devontae Smith was there, was looking incredibly suspect just by him being out. So him coupled with Devontae Smith being out as well is just it's just torching their pass game at this point. So it is what it is. I expected them to have a rough game, but it does seem to be some type of tension between the quarterback and the coach, kind of similar to how their season ended last year. It's kind of starting to pick up that same thing. And you guys know, like, the Philadelphia fan base, I mean, they'll crumble you. I mean, a small issue will become a big issue very, very quickly. And the fact that that game went the way it went, they're not as patient as other fan bases. So I will say the hot seat is definitely approaching with Nick Sirianni, and we'll see what happens. But it's kind of like Nick's. It's hard to blame Jalen Hurts, because I just feel like in all phases of the game they're digressing. They're regressing. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Defensively, they've been looking pretty awful for the most part.
Bad.
I mean, they played decent in that Saints game a couple of weeks ago, but this last game they looked bad, and specifically their defensive backs. I mean, they just look horrible. It's like a lot of talking, after off the field. Like you hear a lot of chatter between the DBs, whether it's Darius Slay, what is his name, CJ Gardner Johnson. Whole lot of chatter before the games, and then when a game happens, they're getting cooked like just left and right. It just doesn't look good. So they got a lot of soul searching to do. Unfortunately, I'm not sure when AJ Brown's due to come back, but by the time he gets back here, it might be too late. So something to just to follow, just to see how it goes. But from just experience and listening to how these things have gone in the past, we're not headed in the right direction. So we'll kind of see how it goes. But they're looking like hot trash right now. So hopefully they can get their guys back at least, and then maybe their talent can kind of get them a few wins, just to kind of stretch things out. Because as we know, things heal when you're winning football games, and if they can't do that in the midst of all of this, there's going to be some trouble in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Jalen Hurts hates his coach. He does. He does. It's so evident. And you know what? I think the feeling may be that amongst the team, like they are not feeling Nick Sirianni. I think people have been saying for a while, Nick Sirianni, some of the hardball is carried by his coordinators, because he wasn't the greatest coordinator when he got the Philly job. He didn't have a lot of experience calling plays. When he got that job, Ben Johnson made him look good. I forgot who the D coordinator was, but they made him look good up there in Philly. And I think, without them around, game planning has been difficult. He brought in Kellen Moore, haven't seen improvement. And he's just shown himself not to be a great game manager either. And he hasn't been able to develop those relationships with his players to inspire them. They just look like a hot mess right now in Philly. AJ Brown is a very talented wide receiver, but they shouldn't look this bad without them. I mean, they're not able to distribute the ball. Jalen Hurts is regressing. Saquon is not getting the ball nearly enough. You got top players playing uninspired. Jalen Carter had to get benched this season just because of the lack of production and him just not playing with the high motor. So there's just a lot of issues in Philly. And it doesn't seem like they're getting to the root of it or turning it around anytime soon. So, yeah, I think you'll see Nick Sirianni on the hot seat. And he may not make it through the rest of the season depending on how it goes. So
it just goes to show you, like, the last two off seasons, you see High Roseman wheeling and dealing, right? And making all these trades and doing all this stuff. And it's like, oh, man, the Eagles do it again. It hasn't translated on the field. It has not translated on the field. And especially that defense, like their defense is bad right now. Let's talk about the Jets and the Broncos real quick. Not so much the Broncos, but the Jets. They lost a game where they only let the quarterback throw for 60 yards. They lost that game. Bo Nix threw for 60 yards in that game, and they lost. And Salah made a comment, I think, saying, I think we got to change the cadence, change the cadence up or something for the offense. And this is the same cadence that Aaron has been running in Green Bay for the last 12, 13 years or whatever. And they asked Aaron at a press conference, I think it was after the game. And he just kind of shrugged it off like, I don't think that's a problem. He's like, I'm not changing my cadence. Like, this is what it is. Like, I won a Super Bowl with this. I won 4 MVPs doing this. Like, they said, a lot of players who were on these shows and said, like, when you have a quarterback that can master like the inflection of the cadence, like when to go, like on 3, on 4, on 2, whatever. And for the defense, they said it's every call sounds the same, so you don't know when they're going to go. And they said not every quarterback has the ability to do something like that. And it just Salah comes off right now as he's trying to protect himself. It's like when they brought Aaron Rodgers over, it already felt like this wasn't Robert Saleh's team anymore because he was allowed to bring Nathaniel. He didn't even pick his own coordinator. He told him to pick Nathaniel Hackett. Like, so it's already a divide there where it's like you got Hackett coming who's working with Aaron. He helps bring Alan Lazard there, who was his wide receiver. The year before, he tried to bring in Randall Cobb there as well. He's talked about in the past trading for Devontae Adams. I think last year, it talked about potentially trading for Devontae Adams and bring him into the Jets organization. You have a Jets organization that still hasn't signed or hasn't re-signed Hassan Reddick. He's going on 4 weeks now without playing in the Jets uniform. You got a Jets defense now that, well, look, they played well. They only allowed, was it 10 points in that game? But for the defense as a head coach, the defense is his only responsibility. Your offense is. And for 9 points, you got Breece Hall, you got Garrett Wilson, you have a solid offense. You got Conklin at tight end. You have a solid offense. There's no reason you should have been able to get 9 points. But again, some of that I think falls on Aaron Rodgers too. Like, it can't be, you're a 14-year vet at this point. You know what offenses you need to run. He knows what plays he needs to run to get guys open and make some plays happen. And again, I think it's a lot of finger pointing right now. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew Aaron going to New York was not going to be a good move for him or the Jets, because I just think Aaron was so used to in Green Bay doing whatever he wanted to do. And the Green Bay media, local media is, not going to say anything because it's a small town. But going to New York and with the Giants playing the way they're playing, you're the hot ticket in town. Everybody expects you to potentially win the division, and you guys aren't looking like division winners right now. Mm-hmm. And it's look, Aaron's moving okay on that. He's moving okay on that foot, but not nearly as mobile as he used to be. When he was in Green Bay, he could move around. Like, he was never going to run off and get 30 yards or anything, but he could move around the pocket and make things happen when the play broke down. But he's not doing that anymore. Like, the Achilles is having a torn Achilles is still a torn Achilles. Like, having a repair on any end part of your body like that is going to hamper you a little bit. So, I think the situation there, just like it is in Philly, doesn't end well. But I think, Aaron's going to get, this is the last year of his deal. They only signed it like a 2-year deal in New York anyway. So he's going to be up out of there, and the Jets going to be stuck right back at square one, trying to find a quarterback and a head coach going into next season.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Over there in New York, Aaron Rodgers and Saleh there's just no chemistry there. Honestly, there's obviously a power struggle that's happening and an ego thing that's happening as well between the two of them. And Aaron Rodgers, as we know, very strong-headed. He's going to be very dominant on that. In that organization. He's probably pounding the pavement right now trying to get Devontae Adams over there. But, if I'm Devontae Adams, I would avoid that situation at all costs, honestly. And hopefully he doesn't make a decision with, too much of an emotional decision just to go over there and join Aaron Rodgers. But, it just doesn't look good. I think what's going on in the organization right now is showing itself on the field. There's no way that a team with a quarterback that throws for 60 yards is supposed to win a football game. There's no reason that an offense is supposed to score 9 points. I mean, it's just when you have Aaron Rodgers back there, and the whole cadence thing was very, very telling. Not that the fact that they were, in disagreement over that, but to me, what was key was the way Aaron Rodgers responded. Not just saying that, I think it's not the cadence, but the fact that he also followed up and said, how about we just hold them accountable? That was very, very telling to me, because that sounds like something that a coach would say. Mm-hmm. And you have to hear that in the media from your quarterback instead. It's just not a good look. I mean, it just goes to show you, because when Saleh was, that was a callback from when he asked Saleh initially if the cadence was an issue, like you said, Miles. And he said it could be an issue. Who knows? It probably is. Maybe we should dial it back. In other words, maybe we should dumb it down for these professional athletes who are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to snap the ball when it's time to snap the ball, and to run a play when it's time to run a play. So it's not going to get better. I mean, it takes very little things in these particular markets, specifically the Philly market, New York, LA's thing like it's not going to take long for these molehills to become mountains. Like it's going to be a thing. We thought it was a thing a few weeks back when Rodgers and Saleh had that little weird exchange, and and Rodgers kind of like smoothed it over in the presser after that game.
when he kind of pushed him. A little
Yeah, I
bit.
mean,
Yeah.
it was funny, and he had a funny explanation for it, but you know, people aren't stupid. Like the things are coming to fruition that we kind of saw, you know, already. Kind of just saw the way things were going, but this kind of solidified it for me. That presser is going to be it's going to be a thing. They're not making a huge deal of it anymore, because obviously week to week, new things are happening, storylines are going to keep popping up, but this is going to build into something else. I think it's going to um, I think it's going to turn into something. I mean, like you said, his deal is over. They're going to play it out. I just think that it's going to mean that Salah's future is going to be kind of in jeopardy with the organization moving forward. So, yeah, it's one of those things, man. When you bring in Aaron Rodgers, you just got to be ready to deal with everything that comes with it. And if you don't have your team up to snuff, Rodgers is the guy that's going to call you out on it. So that's just his way, I think, of coaching, of indirect coaching and indirect, just calling him out. And he knew he was going to put Salah on a hot seat just by saying stuff like that. So, he's very calculated. Aaron Rodgers is an idiot. So the fact that he would say that in response, when there's still other responses he could have made, but he told him straight up, like, maybe we should hold him accountable. That, that's going to have a ripple effect. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is another bad quarterback-coach relationship, and the Jets are another hot mess. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's a shell of himself, but he's making all these demands and commands. It's just dysfunction, and you're seeing this team not play up to its potential because there's dysfunction. I mean, you got a offensive coordinator in there, Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah, he's a part of Aaron Rodgers' past, but he's coming off a bad job in Denver, where he was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't shown to be able to scheme up well for the Jets. Similar to what you said, Trey, Devontae Adams, if you know what's good for you, you don't want to go to it because it's a big cluster. You know what? Salah, he's trying to make I feel like he doesn't have a grip on the team and he's trying to make that happen. Aaron Rodgers is like in his head this alpha male who gets his way and does what he wants. And if not, he checks out. And I feel like he's in a place where he's trying to take control of things as well. And it's this big power struggle. So the bad part about all that is nobody's playing well in the midst of this power struggle. So it's even more exposed. So I think, with the Jets here, this thing could really implode. And, I think Miles or Trey may have said it that Aaron Rodgers is like out of his contract after this year. So he's gone. Yeah. He could dip on out. So, all this could have been for naught. And the crazy thing is, you're seeing your old prospect who you gave away succeeding over there in Minnesota. Granted, it's been some years, but you're seeing what can happen when you have a well-run organization. You see guys go succeed elsewhere. And you see here with the Jets, a guy that succeeded elsewhere is coming here and he's not playing up to his potential, even though he is old, even though he's coming off an Achilles. But it's just dysfunction, and I don't see it getting better.
I mean, look at Jared Goff right now in Detroit, right? Sometimes it is, you just got to – there are a lot of players that I don't know how many drafts can go all the way back to the beginning of the NFL where we realize, like, had they gone somewhere else, who knows how their career would have turned out. Sometimes these guys go to terrible organizations and bad habits, and it's hard to correct. And sometimes these guys get second chances. And like I say, look at Sam Darnold doing with Minnesota. All the shout out to Kevin O'Connell, man. That man is a true quarterback whisperer out there. It gives you a lot of hope if you're in Minnesota long term with JJ McCarthy gets back, that maybe he can take him to the next level, for the Vikings. So. Sometimes you just need a new change of scenery. My thing is too with the Jets, like they have the running game they have in the back, like they have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, who I really like out of Wisconsin. I don't understand why they're not leaning on that more. I do not understand why they're not leaning on that. You got two solid running backs back there.
It's crazy.
Use that until you start getting with the passing game going. Like that, I don't know. That's just me.
Especially in a rainy game like they had.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand why they don't use both of them more than what they're doing. I don't get it. What's the game I wanted to talk about too? Well, Steelers, lose to the Colts. They lose their first game. Anthony Richardson gets hurt again. Is it time that maybe he's just injury prone? Like he can't stay healthy for a whole season. I know it's only his second year in the league, but it seems like now when he gets hurt, like he's hurt for a while. Like
Yeah.
it's sad because it's like because of his body type, like he expects to play more physical because of how big he is, but because it's almost like because he gets hurt so much, it's like he can't play the way he wants to play. So I don't know. It's like it's tough for the Colts because it felt like they were an up and coming team last year. They were going to turn the corner, a healthy Anthony Richardson going into this year, and it feels like they're right back to where they were last year. They got Joe Flacco saving the day again. For these teams, saving the day
for us
Joe
too.
Flacco, Raven forever, man. Beat the Steelers, Raven forever.
Yeah.
I feel like he had a purple. He felt like he had a black helmet on when I bet you when he was playing Pittsburgh.
Right.
He forgot what jersey he had on. And shout out to P Queen, who apparently the Steeler fans are ready to trade.
Amen.
Whatever, because he's on track for career lows in sacks and tackles this year. They said man been non-existent, and look, he was talking all that mess, unwarranted. No one asked him to say anything about Baltimore.
The food is better.
No one asked him to say anything about why he left Baltimore for Pittsburgh. He could easily said, "Hey, it's a better opportunity there." I love what my time in Baltimore, and left it at that. But no, he had to open his mouth. He had to run his mouth. This is what happens.
Yeah, you're no longer welcome to Jimmy's Seafood, buddy.
Nah.
Right.
But no, I think it's two. I think it's the Steelers had gone. They were winning these games. I feel like they're going to be a lot of games like this for them all season. Where they're going to be losing games. Like if they lose games, it's going to be like 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, like that. It's going to be real tight lost games because I will say I think there is going to come a point for the Steelers where there's going to be a game where they're just down by like. Well, it was this game. They were down like it was like 17 or 18 to nothing at one point. Like the Colts were winning, and they came back into the game. But I feel like there's going to be a few more of those games where they're going to be down by a lot, and they're going to have to force Fields to throw them back into this game. And I just feel like I don't know. I feel like again, I don't know how sustainable they can run that offense, saying we can only have to score under 20 points to win every football game. Like I just don't think that's gonna work. That's gonna work out for the rest of the season.
Yeah. As far as Anthony Richardson and just the injuries, it's just one of those things, man. But plus, when you up against the AFC North, man, it's kind of like no matter how they're doing, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, even though their defense is doing great, Cleveland, like it's always brutal going up against these AFC North teams, especially when you're not used to playing them. So. Not that that's an excuse because he's been getting injured, but I think what's this, a rib injury this time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to see your franchise quarterback having rib injuries and everything, especially at his size. You would think he would be more comparable to who, like Cam Newton or something like that, because
he got hurt and was laying on the ground for a while. Came out of the game, went back in and got hurt like immediately,
and it was like, this ain't it. So. I don't know. I think it's one of those wait and see things. I don't know how long he's supposed to be out or if he's playing this week, but there's something to look at. Something about these Colts QBs, man. Hopefully it's not a long-term thing that's going to be repetitive and he had to come out and say, I retire or nothing like that. Hopefully that's not the case. Because he's one of the QBs I was kind of excited about just to see what he can do in the league. And, he has so much left. So you hate to see him going out from injuries and concussions. I think he had a concussion at some point as well. So, just something for us to monitor. Hopefully it's not a repetitive thing. And we'll just see from there. And as far as the Steelers, listen, we say it time and time again. Steelers have never, it's been a while since they've had all the talent in the world on that team. But what they've always had is good coaching. And that's why they were 3-0 in the first place before that Colts game is really a lot of good coaching. And honestly, Justin Fields has not looked that bad. Is he a really, really, really good QB? No, he's not a really, really, really good QB, but he's been doing enough to get them to get the job done. And, when the passing isn't there, he's able to also inflict, a lot of pressure on defenses with his legs. And he's just been able to kind of run them into crucial first downs and things like that on third down. It's been working for them. And they do have George Pickens, who catches whatever you throw in his direction. Like, he's literally
Yeah,
a
another
football
100-yard
magnet.
game.
Like, yeah, he does not drop the football. Like, it just doesn't happen. Outside of that one fumble he had on the sideline that was really, really costly for them. But, you know, but I do agree that I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think the defense is as good as what they kind of came off in the first few weeks. I think their defense is still yet to be super tested. And it was a very, very quiet day from TJ Watt, and I think that was a big part of why they lost that game.
Yeah.
Whatever the game plan was against TJ Watt, it worked really, really effectively because, you know, you barely heard his name called, you know, once. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of weeks we'll hear that he's been having a lingering injury or something like that, because that just usually just doesn't happen. And that's kind of what's happened the last few years with TJ Watt. He'll become a game wrecker, and then out of nowhere we hear about an injury. Oh, we didn't even know he was hurt, and now he's out for however long. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, listen, they're always gonna be in it just because of who coaches them, who's their head coach. And, you know, if their defense does come back to form, you know, they're still going to have a huge shot in most of these games, and we already know they're going to play us tough. So, you know, a lot remains to be seen. They're 3-1, still a really, really good football team, well-coached football team. The Patrick Queen stuff, I mean, the numbers don't lie, I guess, but, you know, from what I hear, the middle linebacker or the linebacker before him was worse than he was.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Even though, you know,
he's still an upgrade.
Everything in Queen, yeah, he's still an upgrade from what they had. Even though I think he had like 2 tackles last week, including one where he was getting beat for a touchdown. Yeah. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, we all knew Roquan wasn't going to be. I mean, Queen wasn't going to be Queen. You know, not being next to Roquan. I mean, we knew that. Maybe it'll be different for him once he moves on from Pittsburgh, if he does. But hey, shout out to Joe Flacco, like you said. I mean, that's the moral of all of this. Joe Flacco's still holding us down to this day.
To this day. Hey, Patrick Queen, what did he say? He said the city better, the team better, the food better.
Yeah, I knew that man was talking out of the side of his neck when he said the food was better. I'm like, come on, man.
Trenton Simpson better. Because we ain't had no complaints about my man Trenton Simpson.
At all.
At all. He just be out there balling.
Doing his job.
But hey, before I get into it, man, is Joe Flacco elite now? Since he's like 45,
you know, he's
playing like
still,
this, rescuing teams.
What he did last year in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Bro,
mean,
come on, man.
Got him to the playoffs.
Was his performance at the end of last year like top 15 worthy, like top 15 QB?
He was this close. He was this close to winning comeback player of the year. If DeMar Hamlin doesn't have his broken heart situation, he's like,
bro.
He's like comeback player of the year.
They don't alter the playbook for him. They let him sling the football.
Just go down and throw the ball.
It's not like they start running more. Like they let him go off, and
just
that's exactly what they do.
If he's able to stay in that driver's seat and take them to the playoffs, like we gotta have a different Joe Flacco combo, bro. We have
for
to.
Real. We got to. Yeah,
we have to.
Somebody might have to pay him for real.
Like,
pay him.
Like
just to, like you honestly, because if you have a quarterback that has an injury problem, it's like he can get you 5 games. Like he showed, like he can get you 5 games. So it's like I don't know why the Dolphins, you know, teams like them, like why do you need to call probably a Joe Flacco for like Joe Flacco still has an arm. You can imagine like
Flacco throwing that ball down the field, man.
Him with Tyreek and Jalen and Jonnu. And was it a Cheney
and Waddle? Yeah.
Chain,
man, yeah.
Beckham coming back too.
Flacco look like a damn marina.
He still got zip on that ball too.
He can still throw it downfield. He won't
overthrow like Ty. He won't underthrow Tyreek because Ty left a bunch of touchdowns out there. That just reminded me of the rate that one season when Lamar got hurt. That whole game reminded me of it. But I'm gonna stay on topic. I just want to say Anthony Richardson needs to protect himself a lot more because he runs reckless. That's why I think he gets hurt. So I'm going to just leave that point there. But I want to talk about Justin Fields because Justin Fields is another example of when you get yourself around a good organization, what things can look like. Because he's looking like a very competent quarterback out there, a quarterback that could definitely develop into something more and has a lot left that he can give. So, like, I'm wondering, like, if the Steelers get some weapons in there, what Justin Fields could look like, because he's looking like nothing like the Chicago. He's not even running the ball.
No, yeah, he threw 300 yards. He threw 300 yards in this
The
game.
quarterback that was running for 150 and throwing for 75 is not running the ball, and he's winning games. Like, granted, they didn't win this one, but I think give this man a full season, because he's never had a fully competent season. Give him a fully competent season with the competent staff, and this kid can really show you that he's a quarterback in this league. So, granted, we're going to knock the stuffing out of him, but I'm just really happy to see him do well, even if it's for a team I hate. So I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah, it's no, it is interesting to see like how well like it's they said they were talking about like it's why we're seeing so many rookie quarterbacks like struggle, over the last few years. And it's like sometimes these organizations put too much on them on their plate when they're coming into the league, because they were like, it's not just playing the game, right? The game for a lot of the guys, like they've been playing this thing since they were peewee and they know how to play football. But a lot of times it's just getting used to the team meetings, finding a place to live and getting on the planes, doing the travel and all this other stuff, doing the media stuff. Like, it's a lot of other things going on besides just playing the game on Sunday. And sometimes the speed of being a professional, like it's not like college where like, all right, I can go with my teammates. We're all staying in the same dorm, right? We can all go to you living in your own apartment, you live in your own condo, whatever, you're doing your own thing. You're expected to be a team meeting at this time. And you got to deal with a lot of times, even in college, like if after a game, a lot of times the coach takes a lot of the flack for whatever happens in the game, regardless what the player does. NFL, you got to go right up there and talk about your play. So it's a lot of stuff that rookie quarterbacks have to deal with right out the gate. And I think when you go to an organization that's like, you're still going to be quarterback, but we're not going to have you do too much. Like, we got a solid run game. We have an excellent defense here. We're going to make sure this offense is competent enough where you feel comfortable and you can gradually get better as this goes on, instead of throw you literally to the wolves, and making it happen. Kind of like what the Ravens did. Look, with Harbaugh and all them, the Ravens built an offense around Lamar Jackson at least the first few years to keep him comfortable and stuff, and started adding sprinkles here and there to, open up the passing game and things like that to get him a little bit better. When you go to an organization that does stuff like that, instead of like, here, go fix it for us, just go fix it. Like, nah, it doesn't work. That's what it appears like what's going on right now in Chicago with Caleb. Like, Caleb just seems like it's like a little over. Oh, he's in over his head right now. Like, he's not. They said he's not seeing the field well. Like, his feet are real. He's real twitchy. Like, he's just not setting his feet and throwing the football. He's worried about a lot of things he doesn't be worried about, and some of that stuff could be just like, we're not putting him in the best situation to go succeed here. So it's, it looks like Pittsburgh. I don't know if there's QB of the future. Again, we got to see how he plays for the whole season, but I will agree. We'll see how the season goes for him as well. We'll head on to our Bells and Pookies for this week. My Bells this week. First.
Okay.
My Bell is going to be the Commanders. most specifically Jaden Daniels. A lot of people, when he got drafted, he was a top 10 quarterback, and still wasn't, because of where he was going in the Commanders. No, everybody kind of just brushed it off. Everybody was focused on Caleb, Drake May, JJ McCarthy, those guys. They were focused more on them and about where they were going. And Jaden just kind of, he won the Heisman and everything, but he's going to Commanders. He's not going to do much over there. And at least for the last two games, this Commanders offense has exploded. Like, no one was expecting for them to do what they've been doing. And he has like probably one of the best completion percentages of any rookie quarterback and NFL quarterback right now through the first 4 games of the season. He looks confident in there. Like, he's getting finally Scary Terry's got a quarterback to get him the football. I think he's been waiting on that for a while. He finally got a quarterback and give him the football. They're running the football well. The energy and I feel like it came at the right time for the Commanders, for the simple fact that you got new ownership, you got a new head coach, everything just feels fresh. right now for the Commanders. Now again, because this situation for the Commanders, maybe you're just catching a lot of teams off guard because no one expected this from you. But if we get to week 8, week 9, and he's still balling, like we could have another C.J. Stroud situation in our hands. And the Ravens, I think, play the Commanders. We got the Commanders coming up in a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they said also that the NBC is trying to get the game flexed to Sunday Night Football because it's a 1:00 game, but CBS doesn't want to let it go. So I don't know. The NFL's got to step in. Maybe they're waiting another week to see like if Jaden does another performance the way he did last week. And they're like, yeah, we got to move this game to Sunday night. There's no
they're
way.
Going flex.
You got it, Jaden Daniels against Lamar Jackson. Like you can't not do that. Come on.
They about to be 4-1, man. They play the Browns.
Battle of '95. Come on. So that's my bell. I'll move on to Pookies later.
Yeah, that was a good bell. Cannot deny Jaden Daniels and what he's doing over there in Washington. Shout out to them. My bells, I guess I'll start homer wise. Gotta give it to that Ravens offense, man. I gotta give it to Todd Monken. I gotta give it to Zachary Orr for coaching a hell of a game against the Bills. Just completely blew their doors off on Sunday night. They just played. Todd Monken specifically just called such an unpredictable offense. It just looked incredible. Like with the play action mixed in, that's what we want to see more of. And also Derrick Henry himself and the offensive line. Derrick Henry, when he scored that touchdown on Sunday, he showed a lot of personality when he scored that. We've seen Derrick Henry has been very even killed and just very calm and collected. Man, you can tell that he was itching for that moment, and I hope that it just builds on more going forward. So I'm gonna just obviously give that to them, and the off the line, led by Falele doing his thing at the right guard position, and also I'm gonna give it to Baker Mayfield. Honestly, Baker Mayfield and that Buccaneers team in general has. Just on all phases, that offense has been looking amazing. Yeah. Mike Evans looked like he's took a sip out of the fountain of youth as well. Just out there toe tapping TDs and still making spectacular catches. But Baker Mayfield gets my bell primarily this week because of his story. I mean, look where Baker Mayfield started, and we just had a conversation about QBs and when they go to certain organizations and it's just set up for failure. Ever since he became a Buck, like he has literally gotten better and better week by week, and he's putting up numbers. I'm talking like he's putting up like damn near MVP type numbers. They're not going to mention him yet. They're going to want Baker to show us a lot more than what a typical quarterback would have to show you because he's Baker Mayfield. But he's looking incredible tonight, and he's going to get my bell. They do play tonight, so hopefully I don't have to switch categories next week. But for this week, he's going to be my other bell.
That's a good one. Can I stick with QBs then?
That's the theme.
We're talking about QBs in better situations with a coach that's a good fit. Can I talk about Mr. Perfect, Jared Goff? 18 for 18. What do you have? 292 yards.
Yeah.
Put up 42 points. The game just looked just too easy to him
for the offense. Yeah, it's just up and down the field.
Yeah, like he caught a touchdown too. I forgot.
Yeah, he's got more receiving touchdowns than like 6 of the other like top players.
Zay Flowers? No, Zay Flowers has one, doesn't he? I don't know. Yeah, he does.
He's got one. He's at least one.
Yeah, they're tied. But no, like Jared Goff, like he was like labeled like a bad quarterback leaving St. Louis, like a bust, and he went to Detroit. He was able to regather himself, and he's become a top shelf quarterback. And to see him command this offense, make plays throughout the game, make clutch plays throughout the season, and really bring Detroit back to relevancy. Like Detroit, we know the Lions, the paper bags over their face. Like the Lions fans have gone through it for years. But they are a powerhouse now in the NFL. And Jared Goff has a lot to do with it, man. Just seeing him develop has just been awesome. So I want to give my bell to Jared Goff with the consolation prize for Nico Collins. I'm not going to go into that, but he's balling out.
Yes,
But
sir.
Jared Goff, perfect game. That's all I got to say, man.
When a coach believes in you, man.
Yeah,
That's all it takes.
means the world.
All right, Pookies. I got a few. It's
I got one.
the Dolphins right now for me. Just because of not having a contingency plan for two. Coming into the season, this man has concussion issues, and they're literally already. I think Skylar Thompson was the backup. Like, you didn't go after Joe Flacco. You didn't try to trade for Russell Wilson or something. Like, anybody at this point would have been a confident backup, knowing your situation at quarterback, and you allowed. Oh yeah, Tua got hurt in like week 2 of the season, and out indefinitely. We don't know when he's coming back. Tyreek Hill has already expressed his displeasure with what's going on in Miami, and it's just you're wasting the talent. You got so much talent on this team. OBJ hasn't even played yet. What is week 4? Where's OBJ at? Where is he? Where is he at? They signed all this. When they pay him like $14 million, something, $15 million. Where is he at? Doing nothing. Haven't seen him on the sideline or nothing. I'm like, so what's going on in Miami? So I'm like, just not being prepared. Not being prepared. I think for them, it's just gotten on my nerves. The Jags are another one. Trash. Doug Peterson maybe. We talked about Sirianni in Philly. Yeah, we talked about some other coaches and stuff. We talked solid in New York, but Doug Peterson may be out of there too. And Trevor Lawrence, he ain't it. He's looking a lot like not so much his freshman year at Clemson, but much more like his junior year at Clemson. That's what he's looking at right now. He ain't looking too good.
Yeah,
he ain't looking too good right now. I think the other one was. I think that was it. Oh yeah, the Will Levis. I'm putting Will Levis back up there, just because everybody
lost his starting job.
He's Will Levis, man. Like I know y'all the Titans won the game, but nah.
Did they like
they won?
They said Will Levis.
Will
Levis is like Will Levis is what happens when the Monstars take your. They were like Josh Allen is what Will Levis is what Josh Allen would look like if the Monstars came and took his power and it took his game away.
That's hilarious.
It's a damn shame.
He's just awful, man. He needs to not play in the league anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. And the Panthers. Just the Panthers, man. Like organization. They set up Bryce Young for failure, and it feels like they'll be starting for square one again. I don't know what's going on with them. But those are my Pookies.
Hey man, if they selling, I mean, I'll take Deontay Johnson off their hands too. Not that we care that much about receivers right now, but he's on the last year of his deal, and
we'll take Clowney back.
They want to get something from him.
We'll take Clowney back. You want to get Clowney? We'll take Clowney back.
All right, Pookie for me. It's another off the field Pookie, but I just got to do this. I mean, no disrespect, but Rasheed Rice's mom, she gets the Pookie. She gets the Pookie for the week, man. I mean, it's 2024. Do you not know how ring cameras work at this point?
And your son plays in the NFL,
right? And you wore the jersey,
the Mama Rice on Chad on the back of that jersey
in 4K.
It's just. If your son's making about $7 million on the season, I mean, your son's a millionaire. I mean, I think it was more so the strategy. It's not that she stole.
It's that she tried to hide it.
The plan was bad. Do you not know that the ring camera audio is some of the best audio you'll hear?
Yeah.
Like, it's so sensitive. Like, she walked past, looked at it. Like that, like she looked at it.
She looked right at the camera, right? Yeah.
And then started sliding the package up with her foot, and then she slid it to a spot where she wasn't even out of the view of the camera.
Right, like you ain't big.
It was crazy, man. But she's going to be my Pookie for the week. I mean, if I go across the league, I'm sure. You know what? Since we already in KC, I'm gonna just KC bash. So Rasheed Rice's moms and Patrick Mahomes. You've
He's
actually been playing
bad.
like ass
He's
every
been playing
week.
terrible. He's still
And
getting picked, I think, every
I'm
game.
sick of Tony Romo commentating your games because he's going to find something good to say no matter what you do. He actually found something good to say in the play that Rashee Rice got knocked out of the game. Come on, man. And how could you do that? That play does not happen if you don't throw that interception. One.
Right.
Yeah.
You threw the interception, and not to mention you went and literally just cannonballed your entire body blindly just into anything. You didn't even look before you threw your body. It was just bad all around, man. You get a Pookie just because y'all winning games and don't deserve to be, but y'all got Andy Reid, so that's why it's happening. And Rashee Rice's mom. It's just not a good look. Like when it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. It's not the Rice family is not doing well this week.
Yeah.
Hey. Pookies. Ty Huntley, and all the Ravens fans who said he should replace Lamar when there was that whole contract situation. Everybody come up to the forefront. Ty Huntley knows how to move the offense. You see Ty Huntley's efficient. He doesn't turn the ball over. Well, he doesn't move the ball either.
So slow. Come out his arm, man.
With Tariq Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Let's count how many touchdowns got left on the field. Not one, not two, not three, not four. Come on, man. There's no reason they would have lost that game with any other QB.
It's bad.
I've never seen somebody underthrow Tyreek Hill that bad. I've also never seen somebody overthrow Tyreek Hill that bad.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. That was just awful. Like Ty Huntley is really a bad thrower of the ball after 5 yards. If you want to run the Colorado offense and throw sideline to sideline with bubbles and screens and slants, Ty Huntley is your guy. If you want to score 6 to 7 points a game, Ty Huntley is your guy. Otherwise, this guy does not belong as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I hate to say that because he's a former Raven, but I just got to do it, man, because Lamar got too much hate when this guy was the second-string quarterback. But Ty Huntley, he was nothing but ass. What did Joe Budden say? That was 2 packs of ass.
Facts.
Yeah. All right. Before we get out of here, let's move on to this Ravens Bengals preview. I mean, coming into this game, the game plan would have to assume is pretty much the same. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, the Bengals rush defense is right there with the Cowboys and the Bills. It's bringing one of the league worst. The secondary for the Bills isn't good, so there will be opportunities there as well. I think the one thing that could be giving the Ravens issues in this game will be Jamar Chase for sure. They still got to worry about Henderson on the outside. I didn't look at the injury report. I don't know if I can pull that up real quick to see if anybody. I think the Ravens were all held when they started on I think Wednesday. Everybody was. I don't think they had anybody listed on the injury report for the Ravens this week. So I think everybody will be available to play. All in all, look, I'm not worried about the running back situation. Look, Joe Burrow has a lot of familiarity with this team. The Bengals are kind of their backs against the wall right now. They're 1-3. They're like 1-3 right now. So I'm like, going 1-4 in this division with the Steelers and the Ravens doing what they're doing, I think it can almost be a death sentence for them for this year, and losing a division game on top of that. So I think that this game is not going to be. I know, Travis, you were saying coworkers are like, "Oh, they're going to lose by 3 touchdowns." I don't think it's going to be nowhere near that kind of a blowout. But I do think that all signs point to the Ravens winning this football game, just because of how efficient the run game is right now. That is just hard for a lot of teams to stop. Now, again, they will be going against, I think, a little bit more physical defensive line in Cincinnati, but I do think that the Ravens are in a zone right now, at least on the line and the tight ends as well. Everybody's doing their part to kind of just manhandle other teams. Now, I do think that hopefully this game will open up some throwing lanes for guys like Likely and Zay and maybe Bateman to get them kind of start getting them rolling and in the zone for this game as well. It's a rivalry game, so I'm not going to go too much as far as saying that they're going to completely dominate this game. But I will say, I think the way it's going to end up is the game will look a lot closer than what it actually is. I think that's the kind of game this is going to look like. It's going to be one of those like Ravens that dominate all 4 quarters. It's just going to look a lot closer than what it actually is. Maybe some garbage time stuff happening, but that's kind of how I think it's going to play out.
Yeah. I think this is a game that we have to kind of exploit what they do the worst, and it's kind of similar to this past week. I mean, we need to build on what we started, man. What we started in Dallas and what we did against the Bills. I don't think the game plan changes much. I do anticipate that the Bengals are probably going to try to over game plan for the run game. So we probably will have to do maybe a slightly bit more passing this week, but we just got to keep leaning on Derrick Henry. I think if our offensive line, just kind of does what they've been doing the last few weeks, I think we're going to be fine. I do expect to see a lot of loaded boxes, so it's going to be plenty of opportunity for Lamar Jackson to kind of just um, make decisions on a whim, and maybe change some plays at the line, and hopefully Monken can get in his play action bag once again, because I just think when we're running the ball well and that play action is clicking, I think we're literally unbeatable. So it's just a matter of they're not good. They're not a good defense whatsoever. I just think we just have to capitalize off of that, primarily on the ground. But it's going to be a game we're probably going to have to throw more. I think they're going to refuse to let Derrick Henry win that game for us, and they're going to force Lamar Jackson to win that game for us, which is it's a pick your poison situation. It is what it is. But I think in the mix, they're going to have to probably make a whole lot of adjustments, because whatever way they think the game is going to go is probably not going to go that way. But either way, I think we'll be prepared whichever route we have to take. But that run game needs to be included in whichever route that is. So I think just more of the same as far as game planning for the offense. The defense is going to have a much tougher challenge. I mean, I know this is a struggling team. They're 1-3, but offensively they have not looked that bad. I mean, after the first week where it seemed like Jamar Chase was like kind of missing first couple of weeks, but Jamar Chase has arrived up until the last few weeks. Like he's arrived, he's here. We're going to have to figure out a coverage plan and a pressure plan to make sure that we're not giving Joe Burrow easy throws down the field, exploiting the middle of the field. And if we're manning up on Joe Burrow, he's one of those receivers where he will kill you back shoulder all day long. So what we saw from Brandon Stevens in that last game with the back shoulder back to back passes, and on that drive where Keon Coleman and all of them was just kind of killing him on back shoulder throws. We have to eliminate that. So I'm not sure what the game plan will be. Like if we're going to be more zoning or man or whatever the case may be. But that's still Jamar Chase, and is also T. Higgins. We haven't had to play T. Higgins in a while. I don't think we've seen him all last year due to injury and whatever the case may be. So this will be one of the first games we played the Bengals where they're kind of at full power offensively. Obviously, minus Mixon this year, which is a huge deal. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a struggle. But this won't be like last week defensively. I think we're still going to have to look out for certain things in the pass game. But I think our pass rush is going to be formidable, and I think we'll get Joe Burrow kind of confused, because I saw some Zach Orr stuff in that defensive game plan where it kind of reverted back to, it kind of looked like a Mike McDonald defense a little bit, where we're kind of crowding the line of scrimmage and then they not knowing who's gonna blitz and who's gonna fall back. So I think we'll be fine. I just think we kind of have to have the same similar game plan. I think the key to this game is being able to make the appropriate adjustments when needed. If we can adjust as they adjust, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you both touched on it. Offensively, run the ball, and to be honest, I would run the ball at Trey Hendrickson, wear him down early, let Pat Ricard and Rosengarten just get physical with him. Because I think the key, against Dallas and even last week is like our pass rushers got tired. Just because we were running the ball at them, and in the times where we did throw the ball, that's probably why we had a clean pocket, because those guys were worn down, and I think that's going to be the key. I mean, hey, Lamar Jackson's 4,000-yard season may not happen at the rate we're going now, but he's going to have a healthy season. I mean, if we keep that pocket clean and we wear down these teams, he's going to have time to make some throws. I don't know how much we're going to throw the ball this game, but I think we're going to just have to establish the line of scrimmage, run the ball. Derrick Henry get around 20 carries. Lamar Jackson get a couple carries. Justice Hill get his off, and maybe Ali get a little burn because he's coming back this week. I think that's what they said. He's coming back this week. So, yeah, I think that's a strategy on offense. Defensively, pressure on Burrow. I think what we've seen in the past is that, like, when we kind of contain Burrow, and give him a little bit of time, he'll make those short throws, and we live with that. But he's not able to beat us over the top, and that's where I think Mike McDonald had a lot of success, putting pressure on Joe Burrow, forcing him to have a quick passing game as opposed to being able to sit back comfortable in the pocket and throw the ball deep to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So I think that's got to be the strategy defensively. I think Owe, Vanoy, hopefully Yannick, they all get a chance to get some pressure on him. Wiggins, Marlin, and Stevens carry over from last game. And we see some turnovers. I don't think we saw any interceptions this past game. Did we have any against Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we had another fumble
recovery.
Just fumble recoveries. We haven't had an interception, so we need some interceptions from our DBs to step up. So let's make some plays. But I think we're in a good position to dominate this game.
I think Roquan had a pick like early week 1 or something like that.
I was going to mention I think you're saying about Ricard and then blocking. I think on the Lamar touchdown where he ran it in, Ricard literally took like a linebacker or somebody, like drove him off the field. It was like onto the sideline and stuff. So yeah, it's just you got 300-pound fullback back there. Use that man, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get the scores. Let's get scores.
Whew. I was about to say I was kind of close last time, but I wasn't because they only scored 10 points. So I think I did pick us in the 30s. I think we get back in the 30s because I honestly think that we might need to score in the 30s for this one. I think I'm gonna give Ravens the win. I'm gonna say we score 32 20 21. 32-21.
I'm right around there. I was going to say 31-20. 31-20. I think double-digit victory, but not a super blowout, but it'll be pretty dominant.
I'm going to say 30-25. Again, I think it's going to be one of those. The Ravens will be well ahead in the fourth quarter, and then it'll be like a garbage time touchdown or something, but the game will be effectively over by that point. So I think the Ravens have a double-digit lead for most of this game, and then it's just too little too late. And it's like not enough time left on the clock for the Bengals to pretty much do anything. So 30-20 Ravens on that. So, all right. Well, hopefully it'll be nice to see another 200-yard rushing game this week. Hopefully they can get that. Again, I think the personnel that the Ravens have, according to other shows, is the Ravens just have better talent. Not that they scheme well. They don't scheme well or anything. It's like they just have better players. Better players. But I think it's the scheme. I think is a big part of it. I think you still have to run an effective run offense and pick guys in the right spots and block the lanes, and that's still a scheme involved in that. So it's not just guys just man up being better players. It's still professional football, right? It's these guys are still good. So all right, we still the Ravens win this one. So hopefully the Ravens pull this one out and they win this game, go and get back on to maybe the Steelers lose. I mean, the Ravens have obviously a but a rivalry game with the Bengals, and kind of what started out, in the second week where Ravens were just kind of the bottom of the division, jump that ladder, so to speak, and be at the top. So we'll see, or at least tie for first. So, all right, that's it from us. We'll catch you guys next week for the Ravens victory. So, peace.
Peace.
Peace.